Hey everyone, welcome to Fluttering channel. My name is Paulo, and for now, we want to talk about animations in Flutter. Exactly, we will talk about explicit animations. We will not be talking about implicit animations. So, why so important to learn about animations? We know that in the Flutter community, state management, architecture, dependency injection, and others are the most common themes. So we talk about those themes. We talk a lot, but the Flutter actually is really good. While we talk about creating a screen, building screens, the navigation, the animations, Flutter is really good with that. So in the last month, I have been taking seven serial classes talking about animations, several classes talking about animations. And what I want to do right now is explain to you guys a little bit about animations, right? So I created here in my computer a empty project Flutter. We only have the main here, and we have my app here. So this project will be run in the web. All right. So we run this project in Chrome using JavaScript, web JavaScript. And why is that? Because while we talk about animations, we have in Chrome, for example, we have a wider screen so we can test better our animations and see what exactly is going on. So I just run the project here. It is already running. So what I'm going to do is create a folder called lessons. And we will create a lesson here called lesson 01.arch. Lesson 01.arch. 01. So let's create a stateful widget here. As we have to control the animation, we will be using the init state lifecycle methods. So lesson 01. We have a scaffold here, and let's use a app bar. We will have a text here in title called lesson 01. So let's use this lesson 01 in our my app here. Let's import it. So we already have here the lesson 01. Great. Let's remove this debug banner. Debug show checker banner. Let's put it false, so we don't have the banner anymore. So let's go to lesson 1 stateful widget, and what we will be doing right now. Let's just remove let's just decrease the directory version here to 360, so we have the formatting in the right way here, like this. Great. We have a body here, and what I'll create here is a centralized container with a width 200 as width and height to 200. And there's nothing because we don't have color. So for the color, we'll be using the decoration, box decoration. And the decoration will have a color stuff light blue. Light blue. Great. We already have a container here. So what I'm going to do is create a border radius dot circular, and the radius will be 16. So great, that's better. So what we're gonna do is create an animation that we call a fade animation, or better, fade transition, where this widget start with its opacity 0 and animates to 1. That means that it starts, not visible, with visibility off, and then from 1 second it appears from us, and after we will reverse this animation, right? So what we'll be doing is create two things here. We have to create a animation controller. So with the animation controller, we can tell exactly what the animation can do, right? So let animation controller, and is a private property. I call it controller. And we have another one called animation. This animation is actually a abstract class, so we cannot implement it directly. We will have to use the twin. I can explain twin for you after. So this animation will have a value, right? So this value can be a double, right? So that's a double, and we can call it animation. Now I want to explain you what is this animation. Basically, animation is an abstract class that receives a value here that can be, for example, a double or an offset. It extends listenable. That means that we can listen to the modifications inside it, and also implements the value listenable with its generics. So we can have a value inside the animation also. We have to instantiate both classes in the init state. Great. After the init state here, we can first instantiate the controller, animation controller. So what they need here is a checker provider. So Flutter checker provider basically creates an animation controller. This checker provider is something that gives you the information about the screen. This information, for example, how many times that screen can update in a second. Most of the screens can be updated in 60 hertz per second or 60 times per second. My screen here can update 144 times per second. But with checker provider, we do not need to tell that because they already know it inside. So what we can do is, inside this private class that extends the state, we can also use a mixin called single checker provider state mixin. This will give a information of the screen. In this vsync here, we can pass this, right? Another thing that we have to use here is the duration. And this is the animation duration. That's something required here. So the duration is 1 second. Let's start with 1 second here. And the other thing we have to do is instantiate the animation. And the animation do not receive a animation as instance because it is abstract class. So we have to instantiate it with twin, right? And this double twin. Now I have to explain you why twin and why double. Twin stands for it is something that means between. So there is a initial value and a final value, end value, for example, 0 and 1. So every time a double animation runs, it starts from 0 and 1, or reverse, 1 to 0. That means that the animation, while the animation is 0, it is totally with its opposite 0. So it doesn't show anything in the screen for us. When it is run, it means that the animation completed. For example, the animation, the 0.0 is the start of animation. And that means that the visibility opacity here is 0. For example, .0, .5 is the middle of animation, and its opacity is, for example, 150. And when the double is 1, it is in the end of animation, and its opacity is 1. Opacity is 1. Great. So this twin means that we want a initial value and a final value. So n begin is 0 and n is 1. So the transition will start with 0. When the screen starts, we don't see anything, and after 1 second, the animation starts. Before 1 second, when the screen starts, the animation starts, with 0, and after 1 second, it completes. So we also have to animate here. And this parent here is a animation double. So we pass here the controller. Great. And we have to start this animation controller dot forward. This is ticker filtering. So with this forward, it really starts the animation. What we want to do right now is going to our container here and wrap with widget, and this widget will be the fade transition. And the opacity is the animation. Great, let's go. So as you can see, I refresh the screen and it starts from 0 and animates to 1. It slowly is fading the screen for us. Let's see again. Great. Let's make it faster. Let's make it, for example, with 300 milliseconds. That's faster, right? So what we want to do right now is reverse the animation. How can we do this? First of all, let's try to repeat the animation. As you can see, it is repeating really, really fast. But what we want to do is make it 800 milliseconds. As you can see, it's repeating, but it's not going back. What we want to do is reverse. So inside repeat, we have a property called reverse, and it always starts with false. So we have to set it up with true. Reverse, true. That's it. Or it is going 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. Great. So let's try seconds. Let's try 2 seconds. Then you can see better. Oh, great. So it's slowly fading out. It's fading in and fading out. So one better approach here is always when you have a animation controller, we have to dispose this animation controller. Animation controller dot dispose. Nice, that's great. So the animation is already working here. So we learned a lot about animation, the animation controller, the animation, and also learn trim, the duration, and also learn about the ticker provider that helped us to get the screen information. Once again, my name is Paulo. This is the Flutterando Brazilian channel, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time, and see you again in the next video.